Hi there, everyone. Welcome to Brew Jackets. It's a fun Blue Jackets themed podcast. My name is Kevin, and joining me tonight is my co-host Hefty Duck as well. And as always, we always invite people to come on the show. If they come on or not, that's okay. There's always next time. But anyways, on today's show, we're going to be having a little season review show. We look back at the Blue Jackets season that was, and look back at the season that the Blue Jackets just had, and how did it go? And there was some bad, some good, and everything else in between, and we're going to talk about that. So Jack Greaves has been picked to play for Canada in the World Hockey Championship, so we'll talk about that. There's some new coaching news involving the Blue Jackets. We'll talk about that. And like we always do, we like to, review some hockey jersey concepts that people have for the Blue Jackets. So we'll talk about that and so much more. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Welcome in, everybody. If you're watching from Twitter, thank you very much. I forgot to do my post. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you very much. If you are watching from either one of those, check us out on the other one on YouTube. We are just I think we're Brew Jackets podcast there. And on Twitter, we're at Brew Jackets Pod. So check us out. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We don't run ads here. So we like to, the best way to support us for free is by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Helps us out a ton. And a big shout out to our audio listeners. If you too want to listen to us on audio, check us out on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you can find podcasts, we are there. So if you want to listen to us on your way to work or something like that, put yourself in a great mood, I guess, on your way to work, then check us out there. But yeah, that's my intro here.
Oh,
you got some stuff, right?
So yes, before we get going, please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And one last thing before we get going here is, as always, don't forget to check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers, a fun Blue Jackets themed group that I do. We do a lot of fun stuff like marches to cheer on the Blue Jackets. Have been featured on TV, in the Columbus Dispatch, 97.1 The Fan, on the scoreboard at Blue Jackets games, and so much more. So check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers on all social media platforms. Check out Union Blue Soldiers.
Check it out. It's a fun time.
All right, so we're going to get going here, and a good chunk of this show is going to be a season review show. There'll be other stuff too, but the main part is going to be season review. So we're going to get going on that.
Just before the season review, we don't always do this here on the show because we don't drink a whole lot. I know we're called Brew Jackets, but it kind of comes from the creation of the show. So I have a brew review for y'all. And later on, like maybe towards the end of the episode, I'm going to tell you about some more shenanigans I got into in Columbus. But I got this at the Barrel and Bottle in North Market in Columbus. It is called the Sibling Revelry Brewing, Westlake, Ohio. So this is an Ohio-based beer company that makes a gluten-free. It's called Ollie Ollie Gluten-Free. And I have not tried it yet. So this is going to be a true first taste brew review. So I love that it's an Ohio-based company as well. Big fan of that. Right off the rip. So it's supposed to be a pale ale. Some of my favorite gluten-free beers have been from Seventh Son Brewing, which is also Ohio. They have one that's exclusively sold at Mikey's Late Night Slice. So it's called Decent Ass Beer. That's the name of it. And then there's one by Red Bridge mass-produced like Budweiser type beer, but this one smells great. It smells malty. All right, it's a little hoppy. It's quite hoppy, actually. I'm always cool with the hops. This is solid. I feel like if you gluten-free or not, you'd like this. I truly actually think, and it's pretty light too. It's like a tiny bit of a citrusy flavor to it. Okay, so out of 10, honestly, this is an 8 out of 10 easily. Easily for me.
Okay.
I will 100% get this again for sure. I'm glad I got a 6-pack.
Good.
I might have one more later in the episode too, but it's a different type. Anyway, yeah, good deal.
Very nice.
Brew review 2, season review.
Yeah, season review. I'll say this, and then we'll get to the season review. I've often said, well, so Dale had a big reason why the show is called Brew Jackets, but shout out to Dale, friend of the show, Bengals and Brews. You like your Bengals guy, check out his show. He's real good Bengals stuff. Smart football guy. But I've always interpreted the term Brew Jackets kind of like it's more of a fun, casual environment, somewhat metaphorically speaking, someone that you want to have a beer with. You're at a bar and you're sitting down with someone and you're just talking about stuff and you're having fun with it. That's how I've always viewed, Brew Jackets. And so I'll just throw that one out there. But anyways, on to the season review. So I have to set it up this way. So last season, the Blue Jackets were not supposed to be very good at all. They did have a season where it was 58 points, and then they improved on that by 66 points. And they got 2 more wins. So there was some improvement there, which is good, but still not very good. So going into last season, the Blue Jackets were not expected to be very good. And then you get a new coach at that time, Dean Evison, and you're like, well, I wonder how that's going to go. And then a new GM with Don Waddell, and you're like, I wonder how that's going to go. And then Johnny Gaudreau unfortunately dies because of a stupid drunk driver. And then you're like, what's going to happen now? How are the Blue Jackets going to play without having one of their best players in Johnny Gaudreau? Because that was a big blow.
Huge setback.
It was a huge setback. Hefty Duck is right to say that.
In addition to being one of the most tragic things that I've ever known to happen in sports.
Yes, very true.
Well, that definitely comes first, but it's hard to not realize the impact that he had on this team and how the trajectory of the team, where it was going, and they're still on their way to being better, but it's not quite the same.
Yes, very true, Hefty Duck. And so the Blue Jackets also got picked to play in an outdoor game at Ohio State. So there was that too. And you and you're like, well, I wonder how that's going to go. So you put all that stuff together and you're like, I don't know. This may be good. It may be bad. I don't know. But in the end, the Blue Jackets that season did way better than expected. They were not supposed to be that good, but they were that good. They won the outdoor game 5-3 against Detroit. The Blue Jackets as a whole, as a team, as players, as an organization, as fans, all came together and rallied around the Blue Jackets to show support for the Blue Jackets and Johnny Gaudreau. And they used that as a little rallying cry, a little extra momentum in a good way to their advantage. And because of that, you put all those things there, they did way better than expected. And they just missed the playoffs by 1 game. So you look back at that scene like, well, it sucks you missed the playoffs, but you know what? That's okay because they did way better than expected. So going into this season, you have this idea this expectation, this mindset that, you know what? They just missed the playoffs by a game. I think it's fair to say that, you know what? They should, be like that, where you're a team that's good enough to win games, be competitive, fight for a playoff spot, and this time get into the playoffs. That was the expectation. And all summer long, all off season, that was the expectation. Going into training camp, that was the expectation. Going into the season, that was the expectation. And the season starts out okay, I want to say like in October, they were like 11 and 7 or something like that. So it's okay, pretty decent record. November was okay too. And then right around, December, that's when it kind of really started going down the toilet. And now you're like, uh-oh, what's happening? And eventually it gets so bad to the point to where Dean Evason gets fired and Rick Bowness comes in, and they play way better. But way better than they did under Dean Evason this season. A lot of the issues that the Blue Jackets had, defensive issues, blown third period leads, effort, a whole bunch of other stuff, were for the most part gone as soon as Rick Bowness came in there. But again, like last season, the Blue Jackets unfortunately lost games down the stretch that they shouldn't have, but they did. And that's a big reason why they are not in the playoffs. And again, they missed by a game. This season is slightly better because last season was 89 points. This season is 92 points. A 3-point improvement. So that is good. But it's still like, damn. A feeling of disappointment, disgust, and just, you missed out on the playoffs again. Had you won some of those games, even just one, you would have gotten in, just like last season. This season, it's a little more not acceptable because you don't have, people weren't expecting us to be as good. You don't have that. People were more paying attention to the Blue Jackets. They're like, oh, the Blue Jackets, this could be a team that could be a good team that makes the playoffs. And, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but the truth is, it's just the unfortunate tragedy surrounding Johnny Gaudreau, just not, 1 year later, just does not just have the same oomph, that same like rah, 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 do it for Johnny Gaudreau sort of thing. It just doesn't. You don't have that anymore. Like, you'll always have Johnny Gaudreau, and you'll always be there to show support for him, and his jersey will always be in the locker room with the Blue Jackets, and the Blue Jackets are doing all this stuff to support him and Johnny Gaudreau's family, which is good, but it just does not have like the same, oomph behind it. So you don't necessarily have that as much anymore. So to not make the playoffs is a little more disappointing. Unfortunately, you in the final 11 games, you go 2-9. That's not going to get it done. So like, things have to be better, and it will be better because Don Waddell he'll make the correct moves because look what he did with Carolina. And another thing is, look at where the Blue Jackets have been going here. Last 4 seasons, 56 points, 66 points, 89 points, 92 points. Each season you are seeing improvement. So we're getting there. Still needs to be better, but we're getting there. We're seeing improvement. So that's what I'll have to say about that. I'll get Hefty Duck in here to say some stuff, and then after I'll get back in here, and then I'll say some stuff that what I liked about the season, and then Hefty Duck can say some stuff, and we'll go back and forth.
Sure. I really want these guys to win a home opener so fucking bad. Like, just I go every year, and when was the last time they won? Like 4 years ago.
2021, because I was at that one too.
Yeah,
And-
that's
Yeah.
it's rough. Very rough. So I'm gonna start out the season a little bit rough, like they did against the Flyers last year. That's okay. You can come back from that. They were kind of back and forth. They won the next game, lost a couple, won a couple, lost a couple, and then they did something really early in the season that gave me a ton of hope. They had a 4-win streak. Granted, they got their first shootout win, they got their first overtime win, and then they won in regular time against the Leafs and Blues away. When they won those 2 away games, I'm like, oh, holy shit. This is something different. This is something different from last year. Yeah. And Evason was still a coach last year. And I was like, oh, the road wins are cool. And then 3 in a row at home, they lost. Actually, I'm sorry. 4 in a row at home, they lost. Shit. Last one in overtime, and then they won one in a shootout. We'll talk about the shootouts here later on too. So you get a little, you give a little. Win 4 in a row, you lose 4 in a row. At that point, I think I remember talking about how like you can't keep doing that. You have to break it up a little bit more. I mean, the wins are fantastic, but you get those stringed losses together, and that is just what eats your points away. Absolutely eats your points away, and you need to find a way to get out of that hole. Granted, and those were all home games too, and that sucks when you just see them win 2 on the road and they come in at home and lose 4 in a row to the home fans. That sucks. So they weren't doing too bad. It wasn't like it was god awful. There was a lot of hope. But the one thing we kept on seeing through like the first first quarter, first half of the season is that there were just so many overtimes. It just the Blue Jackets would play a fantastic game, and then they just fall back to old habits and totally shit their pants when it came to the third period. The Blue Jackets, I think, were like 3rd or 4th in most time spent in the lead this whole year.
Yes,
but they're not 4th or 5th or whatever in the league. You'd think if you spent that much time in the lead, you should be winning a lot.
Yes.
A lot. But then these overtimes and so many. I think I counted I'm about to, was it 19 earlier? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 shootouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 overtimes. So that was what, 24 total overtimes. And it's like, hold on, let me get this out of the way. Oh my God. So, this whole season, I was thinking, oh, well, they're winning some of these overtimes and they're winning the shootouts. So in overtimes and shootouts, they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So exactly half of their overtime games. Every single one of these overtime games could have been a win. Could have been a win in regulation, but they let it get there, and that's where they blew it. They only lost 2 shutouts. They won 4 of them, 5 of them, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. It's crazy it got that far to begin with. Pretty crazy indeed. So, first half of the season, not the worst ever, but we were all wanting more. It was, they're leaving stuff on the table. It's like just to liken it for someone who might be more into baseball, it's like having 3 guys on, no outs. First guy comes up to strike, strikes out. Second guy comes up to strike out. Third guy strikes out and leaves them all on the base. Not even a single run. That's what it felt like. It just felt like ass. But they were still winning some here and there. At this point, I'm trying to remember what we were talking about. I know towards the beginning of December, there was quite a few losses built up at that point. The very beginning of December was kind of rough. They had a 4-game losing streak at the end of November, a 5-game losing streak at the middle of December, and then back and forth all the way till the beginning of the year. But I'm going to leave it right about there for now for this. That's about my first half kind of review. So I guess I'll speak on a couple more just eye test type things. At this point in the season, I definitely didn't think there was any point in giving up. I had a strong hope that this team was going to pull through and be fine. I had belief all the way up until literally they were eliminated. I always, we have to be real about the situation. Oh yeah, they could lose, but there's still a chance. There's still hope. Every fucking year it seems, but I'm someone catching some strays here. So first half of the season still looking hopeful. I think the biggest problems at this time we were talking about was the power play and not being able to score, and then those overtime, just going to overtime at all. Yeah, you get a win in overtime, but like we all know it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's stupid. So yeah, that brings us up to Dean Evason will still be head coach when I bring it back here to talk about the kind of the second half of this season. First half of the season, I'll rate it. I mean, I'll say it was like a 7 out of 10. That's like my go-to, good job. You can do better, but good job.
Yeah.
6 is you could do a lot better. You're kind of blowing it right now. But 7's pretty decent. They weren't at the top of the league at the time, but they definitely weren't at the bottom. They're far from it. No. Especially if you look at a lot of their stats.
That part of the season was okay for me, and then the moment where Don Waddell officially knew that he had to do something different is that game against Pittsburgh in January. The Blue Jackets are playing a good game. They're up 4-2, and in the third period, the Blue Jackets blow that, and they lose 5-4 in overtime. And what made that even worse is the day before you played a real good game and you beat Buffalo 5-1. So, yeah. And then followed that by you played 3 games where you lost. You did get a big win in Utah. But then that Monday, that's when it's all right, well, sorry, thanks for everything, Dean Evason, but you have to go. Rick Bowness comes in, and it was like a 9 out of 10. Things were way better. All the defensive issues, for the most part, were gone. Generally speaking, the third period blown leads and that third period BS was gone. The lack of effort that sometimes you saw was gone, generally speaking. And just any other and then you'd see the Blue Jackets do just stupid mistakes, like a brain fart moment, forcing plays that it didn't need to be there. Why are you doing that? Don't pass the puck there. It's not there. Don't force it there because it gets picked off. It goes the other way, and sometimes it's in the back of your net. Again, as soon as Rick Bowness comes in, generally speaking, you did not see that. They were playing much more better, smarter hockey. Aggressive with the purpose. There's strategy behind it. You're not just running around, metaphorically speaking, with a chicken with their head cut off Like, no, there's aggressive with a purpose. There's strategy to it. You're shooting the puck more pucks on net. I saw a lot of overpassing the puck BS for a good chunk of the season. And for the most part, you didn't really see that under Rick Bowness. And I like that. So, and then as Rick Bowness said that, okay, the season, it's going to go on. As the season goes on, it's going to get harder. And he kept telling them that. But I think that there's some people in the Blue Jackets that did not listen to that, because you could see that some players were not exactly quite there, and that led to the Blue Jackets not doing as well. And then that's a big reason why you go 2-9 in your last 11 and why you miss out on certain things. Like, Kent Johnson has basically had a 2 out of 10 season where he was mostly awful, where sometimes he was good, and when the moments he was good, he really shined. He had some big games that we played real good, and the Blue Jackets won in part because of that, and he was really good in the shootout. Basically, kind of like Kirill Marchenko was, where just about every time he shot the puck in the shootout, money, guaranteed goal, and it's a big reason why the Blue Jackets were good in shootouts. So there's that. But other than that, it was just like, where's Ken Johnson? He was awful. And that brought the Blue Jackets down. In the last 2 seasons, the Blue Jackets were good at scoring goals. Because of that, you're never really out of a game because you can score goals just like that. Or, perfect example of that this season, the Blue Jackets are playing the Islanders. They're down 2-1, and then just like that, boom, they have a 4-goal third period. No, they have a 3-goal. They have a 3-goal third period, and you win the game 4-2. And the goals were just bang, 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 quick, just like that. Because that's the type of offensive talent that the Blue Jackets have. And then towards the end of the season, all that offensive talent that you've had the last 2 seasons, it went cold. It's like, where did it go? What happened? To me, it's like in baseball, you have a pitcher who's pitching a real good game, and he's doing everything he can to keep you in the game, but that can help you for so long before the other team scores. And that's exactly what happened with the Blue Jackets, is that all season long they're playing good on offense, and they're getting much better defense under Rick Bowness. But as soon as the offense started to go dry, the defense that had been so much better under Rick Bowness could only do so much before it was just not enough. Before teams started scoring, because you can only do so much. The defense can only play so well. Jack Greaves or Elvis Merzlikins can only do so well. They can only stop so many shots before one goes in. So, like, that's another thing I'd look at. It's like, all right, we need to be better about that as the season goes along. If we're in that same spot, which I do think they will be next season, of we're a team that's good enough to be competitive and fighting for a playoff spot, you need to fix that, where it's like, get better goal. Your goal scoring needs to not dry up like that. That needs to be better. So, like, for me personally, I'd say first half was like 4 out of 10, because like there's some moments that were bad, but then there were still some good moments there. Second half was like 9 out of 10. Because they really started to play so much better under Rick Bowness. And then towards the end of the season, for whatever reason, they just kind of pooped their pants, and whatever progress they made, for the most part, they just kind of flushed it down the toilet. Because they had so many times during that last part of the season, how many times did you hear something along the lines of, man, the Blue Jackets, if they win they're going to put themselves in a much better position, and then they need these teams to lose. And this would happen so many times where the Blue Jackets lost a game and you'd hate it, it sucked, but then other teams in front of them or below them in the standings are also fighting for a playoff spot would lose. That happened so many times. Like, all right, well, you're still in it because the other teams in front of you or below you lost, so you're not completely out of it. But that you can only do that for so long before your chances run out, and that's what happened. There's only so many times that you can lose a game and then have other teams below you or in front of you lose. You have, because when you are in that situation that the Blue Jackets are in, you need to take care of it and win those games. You have a chance to put it away so you don't have to worry about, well, we need to win this game and we hope that this team in front of us and below us lose. It's not exactly a good strategy. The Blue Jackets, I think they've learned that lesson the hard way the last 2 seasons now. And I hope they learn that lesson, and I have a pretty good feeling, in my opinion, that they will, that they're not going to do that again, that they'll learn their lesson, say, you know what, we can't do that again, not anymore. We have a chance to put it away. We're going to put it away, and we're going to win that game. So you're not in that position. So first half of the season is like 4 out of 10 for me, and then second half of the season is 9 out of 10 for me. So that's all I got to say about that. Have to duck and say some stuff, and then after that, I would like to say some stuff that I liked about the Blue Jackets this season.
Yeah. So I kind of left off around about the January, beginning of the year time period. And do you remember what day it was exactly? Bonus, was it the 10th? Or sorry, was it he came in for January 13th game against the Calgary Flames?
Yeah, it was his first
right
game.
after they won the because Dean Evason won a game and then got fired.
Yeah.
Right. It was the Utah Mammoth overtime win.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll go up to there. I'll finish out Dean Evason's season. I'm not sure exactly when it was decided that he had to go, but it was pretty quick as far as I'm aware. From what I've heard from Don Waddell.
Yeah.
As soon as he found a guy, he was like, okay, let's go. But it was a 7 out of 10 start. And Don Waddell wanted a 10 out of 10. Who doesn't want a 10 out of 10? He's mentioned multiple times. His goal is not the playoffs. His goal is the Stanley Cup. We haven't heard that much in Columbus.
Nope.
What we've heard is the playoffs. The playoffs. We get back to the playoffs. You know who got back to the playoffs? I just saw a post about this. The LA Kings. 5 years in a row, went 6-20 against their opponents. Getting to the playoffs, just that's what happens when you're only ever a wild card or something like that. They're a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 team. They get the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they don't get the Stanley Cup. So that's Don Waddell, I believe, showing the fans showing the players that he's serious. If you're not good enough, if you're just getting by, you're going to go. And I think we're going to see a bit of a mix-up this offseason with some players. Excuse me, that beer is making burp. I don't think we're going to see there's no rebuild here. It's win now. It's win now. We just saw some coaches go. We'll talk about that here in a while too, because that will be our final end of the season type stuff. But let's go back here for a little bit. I mean, right before Evason got fired, he had, oh my God, let's count this real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he won 8 and 12 in his last few games, his last 20 games as Blue Jackets head coach. And the thing about the losses is that they're all strung together. In fact, he lost 4 in a row again the game before he got fired. He ended up pulling the overtime win, but that was not. It was too late. Too late at that point.
Yeah.
And then we have Rick Bowness step in. So I'm going to rate Dean Evason. He went 19, 19, and 7 this year. It's 500. It's not the worst record that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Could it have improved? Sure. Could it have gotten worse? Absolutely. It was right in the middle of the road. It needed to be better, not the middle of the road. So I'm going to rate his season at a 7 out of 10 still. I don't think it was that bad. It just wasn't good enough.
Yes.
It's, I don't think I've seen some podcast interviews with him where, he seemed a little bit like jolted a bit, but I get that because you weren't just losing your ass off. You didn't, when he got fired from the Wild, I think he started out the year by losing 5 in a row or something like that. Or it was a bunch out of the first 5 or 15 games. And he wasn't doing that exactly. There was losses strung together, but there was wins strung together too.
Yes.
And so 7 out of 10. I'm not going to fail you by any means, but you weren't, the valedictorian of the class, so to speak. So after that in July, geez, I wish, January, let's see, Don Waddell took over. And right after he took over, the Blue Jackets went on a tear, winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of their next 11 games. Then we saw them fall back into old habits. End of February, early March, losing in overtime, then winning in overtime, then winning and winning, and then losing in overtime and losing in overtime, and then losing in overtime again. Now they were doing pretty damn well. Like I said, they won 10 out of their first 11 games under Rick Bowness. They were going fantastic. Also, sorry if you see the color changing on my face. It's a commercial break on the baseball game. I got my tablet below my face. I saw my face go really red. I'm not angry, that angry. I'm a little annoyed, but not angry. Anyway, so they strung some wins together in mid-March, end of March. Things were looking good because I think that they at that point they rocketed. They touched the top of the Metro for a second. Yeah, they were second in the Metro at one point for a good little minute, and they pissed it away.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes people talk about all the time whether or not the new coach is going to save your organization or be better or whatever. Some teams get what they call the coach's bump or whatever, the new coach bump. And so we'll find out for sure next season if that's what happened. We'll find out for sure. I personally don't think. I think that Rick Bowness is a fantastic coach, and I think between Rick Bowness and Don Waddell, I really think that they could pull this together. With their experience and their want of a Stanley Cup. So it kind of went to shit there for a second. They lost 6 in a row. At the end of March, beginning of April. 6 in a row, which all but completely crushed their hopes of being in the playoffs. The dream was still alive. Up until the game until the game before the last game.
Yep.
It was alive, and then just like last year, right out from under your noses. It's sucks to see. And we talked about, I personally have talked about this multiple times about how when we're looking at these third period losses, when we're looking at these late season dives, what might some of these problems stem from? Is it them wearing out, strength and conditioning? I mean, they're professional athletes. All these guys compete on the same level. I don't really think that you don't really see them gassed out physically, but I feel like it's more of a mental thing at this point.
Yes.
They're checking out, they're gassing out mentally. It's a lot to handle, a lot of back and forth. So the Rick Bowness score for the end of the season, I'll give him an 8 out of 10. It was better than Dean Evison.
Yep.
He got to 19 wins way faster. Real quick. He finished. Damn. Okay, he might get a 9 out of 10. It would be 10 out of 10. So he went 21, 11, and 5, which is 2 more wins in like less than half the games. So if that's anything to tell by for next year, that's a good omen. I believe. I feel like the 8 out of 10 is fitting though too, because like I said, I mean 7 wasn't bad. Dean Evison wasn't bad. He said it wasn't good enough. Who knows how it would have been? You know, we can always play the what if game with so many people that have come and gone in the Blue Jackets organization. Especially when it comes to coaches, where's some stability?
Yes.
We were hoping for. I talked about that when they hired Evison, and then he was going to second year. I'm like, cool, some stability. It's just it happened again. So then, the season ended. Right now they haven't fired some assistant coaches or the video coach, but they did not rehire them. Their contracts are up after this season, and they're not getting new ones, and that is Mike Haviland, Scott Ford, and Aaron Augustitis. And he's the video coach there too. So there's rumors about who will be up next, but my point with this being is they are once again showing that they don't want to just get in the playoffs. That they want to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, does this team look like a Stanley Cup winning team? At times.
Mm-hmm.
Up until the third period, anyway. And that's, they'll figure it out. Well, knock on wood, they figure it out. But, yeah, have your first period be the bad one. You can come back after the first period. There's a lot of questions for the next year, too. Front of house stuff, captaincy rumors, goaltender stuff, RFAs, UFAs, you name it. We'll talk about it eventually. But, I'll give that first half a 7 out of 10. And then when Bowness came in, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. This was not a bad season. Just wasn't good enough.
Yes. So, all right. So I would like to talk about stuff that I liked about the Blue Jackets this season. So last 2 seasons, the Blue Jackets have shown that they're really good at scoring goals. And because of that, they're never really out of a game. You just can't count them out. The Blue Jackets have games where this season where they scored 4, 5, 6, even 7, even 8 goals. You can never really count the Blue Jackets out because they're good at scoring goals. And I like that. Like I said earlier on in the show, a perfect example of that is that they're down 2-1 against the New York Islanders. And then they have a 3-goal third period. And they win 4-2. And the 3 goals that they scored were just quick, rapid fires. Boom, 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 boom. Just like that. That's the type of talent that they have. That's the type of goal-scoring ability that they have. they're never exactly out of it because they can score goals. So I like that. Last season, the Blue Jackets' road power play was awful. It's a big reason why they didn't get into the playoffs because they had so many chances to score on the power play on the road, and for the most part, they couldn't get it done. And that came back to hurt them. This season, they improved on that. The Blue Jackets' road power play was top 10 in hockey, one of the best in the NHL. It is a reason, it's a big reason why the Blue Jackets were so much better on the road this season. Last year, the Blue Jackets struggled on the road. Not this year. The Blue Jackets were way better on the road this year. The Blue Jackets, they've had games this season on the road where they won in part because the road power play got them a big goal or two to help them win that game. The game against Montreal most recently, where they won that game 5-2, a big reason that they won that game is they got 2 goals on the power play. A game against Dallas in Dallas, the Blue Jackets won that game 5-1, and a big reason they won that game 5-1 is they got, power play goal on the road. There's other games, like that too, where it was a pretty good competitive game, but then the Blue Jackets road power play came through again. It was top 10 in the NHL for road power play. So, like, if you were playing the Blue Jackets and they were on the road, if there's like one of the things you did not want to do was put them on the power play because they had one of the best road power plays in hockey this season. It was just that good. And just to see that big of an improvement to go from one of the worst road power plays in hockey to one of the best road power plays in hockey was awesome. Because last year, I just had this feeling that, power play on the road. They're probably not going to score on this. So, but this one, like, I had a good feeling about it. It's like, all right, you know what? Blue Jackets are playing a game on the road and they get a power play. It's all right, you know what? We need a big goal here. And more likely than not, they would get it. And it played a big difference in why they were so good on the road this season. So that was awesome to see. Last year, the Blue Jackets were god-awful on the second half of back-to-backs. Last season, the Blue Jackets went 2-10 on the second half of back-to-backs. 2-10. Awful. Just not good. You can't have that where on the second half of back-to-backs you're that bad. This season, the Blue Jackets were way better on the second half of back-to-backs. Vastly improved on that. It was not really that big of an issue anymore. You didn't feel like, it's a second half of a back-to-back. They probably are not going to win this. No, you didn't have that. It's like, second half of the back-to-back. You know what? Blue Jackets, they've improved on this. They got a good shot at winning that game. They do. So that was good. I really like that. So that was good to see. The defense got way better under Rick Bowness. I like that. For the most part, all that third period BS where you blow the lead and you lose, generally speaking, that got fixed under Rick Bowness. So I like that. The last season, the first 7 games in overtime, the Blue Jackets were 1-6. It was awful. And it was just an awful feeling that going into overtime, it just felt like, they're probably not going to win it. This season, the Blue Jackets did not start overtime 1-6. They were much better. Still have to improve on overtime because there's still some games that they pissed away. because they couldn't get it done in overtime. But it was better. So there's improvement there. Last season, the Blue Jackets were really good in the shootout. Generally speaking, if you were in the shootout last season against the Blue Jackets, you lose. You are not beating the Blue Jackets. And this season, the Blue Jackets continued that positive momentum from last season. Last season, you're good in the shootout. This season, the Blue Jackets are good in the shootout. Generally speaking, this season, if you're in the shootout against the Blue Jackets, forget about it. You're done. You're not winning that one. The Blue Jackets win because they were just that good in the shootout. Whether that be because Kirill Marchenko had a really good year in the shootout, ridiculously good. Whether that be because Kent Johnson was really good in the shootout, or because Elvis Merzlikins was really good in the shootout. You didn't beat Elvis. If Elvis Merzlikins, the last 2 seasons, if he's in a shootout, you're not beating him. You're just not. He's just been that good. And even Jet Greaves, as the season went along, he got better at shootouts. Like the season started out, and of the two, he was the weaker goalies of the two when it came to shootouts. But even he got better at it as the season went along. So I like that. The Blue Jackets last season, good at scoring goals. This year, good at scoring goals. Last year, good at shootouts. This season, good at shootouts. They improved on the road power play. Overtime was better. I like that. Jet, going into this season, there was a question mark about the goaltending because you're like, well, Elvis Merzlikins is what he is. Sometimes he's bad, but sometimes he's good. You don't necessarily know what Elvis Merzlikins you're going to get. But when he's good, and he takes over a game. And the Blue Jackets win in part because of Elvis Merzlikins. And with Jet Greaves, it was a small sample size because you're like, well, we've seen him do good, but it's a small sample size. Can he do that on a consistent basis? And now the book is out on you, Jet Greaves, because teams know about you now. They can go back and look at the tape and they can say, okay, what's he bad at? What's he good at? How can we go after this guy? And it's your responsibility to figure out a way around that. So there's that question, you didn't necessarily know what you had in Jet Greaves, and you had question marks about Elvis Merzlikins. Knowing what we know now that the season's over, you don't feel bad about the goaltending. You just don't. Going into next season, I feel good. I feel good knowing that we have Jet Greaves. He's shown he can be a good goalie consistently. And I feel good that we have a good backup at Elvis Merzlikins. We do. I'm not going to worry about the goaltending because it's fine. It's not an issue. Because even if it's not Elvis Merzlikins or Jet Greaves, we have, Fedotov, and we have other options. It's not as bad. So I like that. Adam Fantilli, what a season. I know he didn't score, got a downgrade from goals going from 31 to 24, he wasn't very good in shootouts. Wish you get better than that. But if you take those away, everything else was good about him. He became a much better 200-foot player, way better on offense, defense, face-offs, power play. You saw him block shots. You saw him do a little penalty killing. And then you saw him put in more situations to start the season if you needed a big face-off, if you needed someone in a defensive situation. You were not seeing Adam Fantilli out there. You just weren't. You were seeing someone else. But as the season went along, I had no issue with throwing Adam Fantilli out there because he just so improved so well on face-offs and defense and blocking shots. Saw a little penalty kill, better on offense, power play, that I had no issue throwing him out there in any situation. I need a big face-off? Fine. Put Fantilli out there. He'll win it. I need a defensive situation. Okay, I got no issue with Fantilli out there. I need a big goal. Put Fantilli out there. I got no issue with it. Power play. All right, put Fantilli out there. He's just that good. Zach Werenski, awesome season. Just ridiculously good. Last season, he played really good, finished second in the Norris Trophy, and did way better than expected. We know he's an awesome player, but I don't think going into that season, everyone was thinking that he would be that good. But he was that good. And now you're thinking, man, he had a real good season, but there's probably going to be some regression. I don't think he's going to be that good. But there was no regression. He continued that progress and all that positive momentum he had from last season and carried it into this season and played another really good season. And because of that, he earned himself a spot on the USA Olympic hockey team, played really good there, got the gold medal, and then he continued to play good for the Blue Jackets. And more likely than not, he's probably going to win the Norris Trophy this season for best defenseman. Just really good. You know, second straight season where he had 20-plus goals, 80-plus points. Zach Werenski's really just become the guy that you want on your team. Defenseman that plays defense, tough, got some physicality, blocks shots, makes good defensive plays, and then, yeah, he can give you some offense. He can shoot the puck. He can score some goals. He can make some passing plays to set up goals. Everything that you'd want from a defenseman. Zach Werenski does that now. Just that good. Just that awesome. I like what I saw from Kirill Marchenko. Sure, he scored less goals, going from 31 to 26, but still good season. You know, so I like that. You know, Damon Severson. Wow. Just wow. What a season. So good. 10 out of 10 for me. Coming off of 2 seasons where it was so hit and miss, where sometimes you weren't there and sometimes you were there and you were good. This year, none of that. You saw none of that. He was just that good, especially with Zach Werenski. And as soon as he went out with that injury, you could tell there's a difference. It made a big difference. The Blue Jackets were just not as good without Damon Severson in the lineup. Damon Severson did everything for the Blue Jackets. You needed a big goal, he could do that for you. You needed him to block a shot, he would do that. You needed him to make a big defensive play, he would do that. Good in transition. His skating was awesome. He made a lot of big plays to just get it out of the zone. Get it out. He made some big plays to set up goals. It was just that good. It was just an awesome season. You know, Charlie Coyle, just wow. What a season for Charlie Coyle. When we're trading for him in the last offseason, awesome player, but I don't think we're thinking that he's going to be that good because he was that good. Ridiculously good season for Charlie Coyle. The Blue Jackets needed help at center, and they got help at center. He was awesome. Charlie, if they needed a big goal, Charlie Coyle was there for the Blue Jackets. He got that big goal. They needed a big defensive stop. Charlie Coyle was there. Penalty killing, power play, really good at face-offs, shutting down the other team. That was Charlie Coyle. Just that good. And now he's looking at a nice contract with the Blue Jackets where he's going to make some money. I could go, you know, Denton Mateychuk was good. I could just go down the list and name a lot of guys that just played good and just a lot of stuff that I could say about the Blue Jackets that I like. and I have said stuff that I like, but I've said a lot of stuff. So a lot of stuff I've said. So for now, I'll shoot it over to Hefty Duck, and then we'll send it back over to me.
Yeah, so I'll talk about a couple individuals here, but as far as our whole player report cards go, I'll do a couple ratings, but we'll get those done here and over the next few weeks. Look out for those. It's going to be a fun time. We will talk about your favorite player. We pretty much with those. I'm just giving a little teaser here. With those, we go through a player's full season. We do some breakdowns and we say what they could do to improve for next year. And so I'll kind of do that with the team as a whole here too, as to what they can do to improve for next year.
But what's something you liked about the Blue Jackets?
Some stuff I liked. I felt like, I'm just going off the eye test here a lot. They played with a little more intensity, and a little more grit.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if Marchment was told to calm down a little bit. I'm very curious if he was told to chill out a little bit, because when he first came over, he was this typical, like very, like kind of controversial in some ways, with some of the shit he does. Highly competitive. I get it. So I loved the addition of him. In fact, he ended up coming 9th in points for the team. So, get away with what you can get away with. That's how every other team is doing. That's how, I mean, everything you can do to win, sort of actually cheating, do it. Do it. So I like the way that they played. I really appreciated the third and fourth liners a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I thought in general they did pretty well. I think it's going to be a hard. Unfortunately, I don't feel like they'll be as hard to replace if need be, just for certain reasons. I liked the way Adam Fantilli came out hot.
Yep.
The top 4 guys on the team are showing who they're gonna have to build around, who to keep around, who to build around. Now, to be fair, the 4th in points is Charlie Coyle. I think you need to keep him, but he's kind of old. You don't build around him. He's part of the build around Fantilli.
Yes.
He's part of the build around Werenski and Marchenko. I feel like those 4 guys are a bit untouchable this offseason. Yep. I thought that they all played really well. One thing I noticed, I feel like Adam Fantilli's line needs to be a little bit more defensive minded at times. Even his line mates, he himself has a -13, which is not the worst ever, but working on a little bit of defense and whatnot. I absolutely love that Zach Werenski is the best player on the team and has been for quite a while. I truly think that we need. So this season we had 2 forwards beat his goals. I think we need more than 2 forwards getting more goals than that.
Yeah.
And and last year Kirill Marchenko did. This year he was unable to produce quite as much, and I'm a little bit curious with the production. Because when you look at some other team stats, like they just have a lot more goals. Some other players just have way more, which creates way more points for everyone because it's more assists then. But overall, I was pretty impressed with how the guys played. Starting off the season was rough, like I talked about. Got better. Pretty much just kind of evened out. And it wasn't disappointing, wasn't super exciting either. All the guys pulled through well this season. You mentioned something too earlier, and it might. I could see how some people might not like us saying it, but you're absolutely 100% right. The boost that the Blue Jackets kind of got I hate to call it a boost. It really wasn't. But they rallied together as a team and got behind something as a team.
Yes.
When Johnny Gaudreau passed.
Yes.
And they need, because like I said this a while ago, it's a mental thing. I believe it's mostly a mental thing at this point. Yes. You have guys out there who are so successful in every position, they could be on a top line on any team in the league. Yes. You're not, Kirill Marchenko could be a top liner, a first liner, almost anywhere.
Yes.
Almost anywhere.
Yes.
Fantilli, maybe not, just because when you look at like a team like Colorado, they have like 4 first line centers. Like every line they have like a first fucking line center almost. That they're amazing. But like, he could still top line almost any team, push him out to the wing instead of the center, maybe something like that. Coyle, same thing. Then when we start looking at like Jenner and Monahan, they were definitely big part of that first line last year for a while till Jenner got hurt. And Monahan came in clutch last season. Yeah. Super huge. I'm tired of the tragedies that have happened to this team. It's unavoidable. It's unfortunate. It seems like after everything they get to rally. I wish that they can find a way to stand behind each other and rally around themselves without there being an incident that causes it. Yeah. Them just wanting the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
The outside distractions, it's always going to be a constant to somewhat. So I guess okay, so I guess I kind of got onto a little bit of more complaints than it was just like, what do I like about them? But here's a couple of here's just a pointer for next season and for your careers at this point. Stay off the internet. Don't pay attention to what fans or media is saying. There's no need. I think that for just the team as in general, as a big mental health thing, personal posts are one thing, but if you're scrolling on the internet regularly, I would stop. Yeah. I would recommend stopping. When you start looking at the causes of mental breaks, you start looking at things like eating and sleeping and the basic things that you need to be 100% top of your game every single day. Every day. You can't have an off game. And people do. You know what? It happens.
Right.
I heard some sort of controversy about the way that they fly out to games or something like that. They fly out day of instead of the night before or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but people were talking about how on the road, like they could maybe work on something with that. I'll have to do some more research on that and talk about that again later. Yeah. So talk about the offense a little bit. They did very well, and then the offense is not good enough at defense. The defense is fine at offense, but the offense is not good enough at defense. I think that's where some of the breakdowns in those third periods go.
Yeah.
You are out there to play a full ice game. You're not out there to cherry pick at the top of the zone and get in.
Yeah.
You have to be on your man. You have to be in your zone. You have to be doing whatever. Defense, mostly solid. There's some hiccups from time to time, but one of the biggest improvements I saw, it was just little tweaks. Damon Severson. Absolutely. You know who I saw do a couple more brain farts this year? I think was Provorov. And it really wasn't that many. I think he improved too, because every now and then he would just like pass it to the other team sometimes. It's almost the same thing Severson was doing, just Severson was doing it slightly a bit worse, but I think they improved. And then Matejchuk coming in, dude. I'm excited for this defense. I really am. They keep those guys around, and then even Fabro being in there, so it's a good guy to have around.
Right.
Fabro. And then, you know, Goodbranson, if he can stay healthy, he's at least a force out there. Now, he is, I think, isn't he a UFA or something?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll talk about all that stuff here either a little later or a different episode for sure. So defense looking great. I'm excited about that. Let's talk a little bit. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the goaltending now, and what I liked was I don't think what we saw Merzlikins really get rattled.
No.
I feel like that's happened before because we all know that given like any time, any night, he can be elite. He can absolutely be elite. I'm curious. I'm just very curious as to what's being said on the ice sometimes because you know the goalie is kind of like the on ice general, the guy giving directions in order to his defense in order to be able to properly play his position, but also because he's in the back, he can see everything in front of him. Well, most of the time. Yeah, I just feel like that he's getting shelled more often with just more shots. And I it's hard to say exactly why that is. So the goalie stats total in all the 82 games, there was only hold up. I just realized this. This entire season was only ever Jet Greaves or Elvis Merzlikins.
Right.
We did not see a single call up one time. We saw a call up, but he didn't play, right?
Yes.
Zachary Sawchenko, maybe?
No, Fedotov.
I think that there was like one call up and then they never got played. So that's insane to actually think about because we can go back probably the last 5 seasons and there's had to be a call up at some point.
Yes.
You just can't play every single night all the time. I think that's one of the great things about Greaves is that, you know, him still being a bit younger of a goaltender can maybe do those like longer stretches of playing. And I mean, he ended with a 908 save percentage. As far as that goes, I don't know what the averages are. I should have looked that up earlier, but it was better than Merzlikins, 883 save percentage. That is a little bit rough when you go under 900. Now, throughout the past decade, the save percentage has been slightly declining a point or two each year, like the average save percentage. And I believe from what I looked last year, I think Jet Greaves is pretty good in that.
Yeah.
I want to say, let's go to leaders. Game goals. Do they have any games played, goals against, shots against, save percentage? All right. So, number 1 goaltender in the league with the best save percentage. If I can highlight this, where is it? There we go. Scott Wedgwood with 921. That is actually insane. He played 45 games too. Okay. I'm gonna read off a few names because I think that some people are gonna be surprised with this. Jesper Wallstead, 915. So it dropped 7 points between the top guy Wedgwood and the next top guy, Wallstead. Now he played 35 games. The next guy only played 20, Dennis Hildeby, so he had 912. If you play less than 25 games in a season, I think you have to take it with a grain of salt, a little bit. But 912, 912, 912 for those guys. Thompson, Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, 911. So now we're getting really close to Greaves. The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in a row all have a 909. And it's Cooley, Hofer, Grubauer, Forsberg, Luukkonen. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Luukkonen. Now, sitting at the number 12 spot. Now, if we're counting the ties as their own spots, this would put Jet Greaves at a 12. But if we're counting the ties as like this guy's first, this guy's second, these guys are tied for third, fourth, these guys are tied for fifth. This puts him at like the sixth position if the ties are all kind of even line. Puts him at 12. Doesn't matter. Do you know how many goalies are in the league? According to this, 67. goalies have played at least 20. What's the least amount of games played? 1. Oh, it's like 98. 98 goaltenders. Why does this jump so much? I don't know. I can't count anyway. So the numbers are looking good. Looking great. You cannot ignore statistics. Sometimes you gotta come into account though too. Like if he just lets in 1 goal a game, but that goal is the game winner, still with the loss. He's even his save percentage goes up. Yeah, he also had two shutouts this season. I think he got his first one, his very first shutout in his career this season, and then got a second one. Absolutely stellar. I am excited for Jet Greaves. With all the talk, we talk about his weakness. Is those high shots. He's a bit shorter for a goaltender in today's league, but he's fast and he's smart. You rarely see him doing those moments where, as a certain other podcaster might say, where he wasn't tending the goal if you're a goaltender. He doesn't. You don't really see that. Hell, you don't really see that from Merzlikins either. Every now and then, he at one point he wanted to play like really bad. Like he almost wondered if you want to just put on some regular skates and go play defense. But like, yeah, that's anyway. So number 12, and he is well above. What's the average then? Oh well, I'll look at the average at some point. So, he's number 14 in goals against average. You know, once again, there's some ties getting there. 18 in quality starts. I don't think he's a top in anything. Let me switch to the widescreen view. Nope, but he is up there with the best. If you have at least what I would consider a top 15, if not, I mean, almost top 10, close to a top 10 goalie, Jet Greaves. And he is 24. Elvis Merzlikins is 31. Goaltenders tend to, unintended, intended. Oh, sorry, I'll leave that one alone. Goaltenders tend to be, stay in the league a little bit, maybe a little bit longer. I mean, we saw Jonathan Quick just retire this year. He was 40. He played 25 games this year. Cam Talbot, 38, 34 games. Sergei Bobrovsky, y'all know how old Sergei Bobrovsky is? He's 37.
Yeah.
He played 52 games this season. Did I say 57? Holy shit. I meant 37. I was looking at 37, 52. I just got my wires crossed there for a second. Anyway, so when we're looking at, Merzlikins, he's actually pretty great in the middle of the pack there, 31. So we definitely got some few years. He got at least 1 year on his contract for sure. And yeah, I'll leave Merzlikins out of this a little bit just because we've seen him play for the last how many years, and we've talked about it. We've talked about the good, the bad, and everything in between. Right. And I think you know what you're going to get with Elvis now.
Yes.
I think a little bit more. It was real for a couple of seasons there. Whenever he was playing for Pascal Vincent, he was like, I don't know if he was like severe IBS or celiac or Crohn's or something that was like just messing with them, or he was in and out of games all the time. Like he was just, he's scratched tonight, and they were constantly bringing up someone from Cleveland just to have as backup.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing that as much.
Nope.
So pretty cool to see. So one of my favorite things this season, as Kevin mentioned earlier, has been the shootout.
Yeah.
That's another thing that Jet Greaves did pretty well at. There were 21 attempts on him, and 8 of those were made. That's 61.9%. Elvis Merzlikins had 8 attempts, 3 made, 62.5%. It's a lot fewer, but pretty good. So not only are the goalies pretty decent and fairly reliable with that stuff. I mean, they're almost 62% by Jack Greaves. That's way above 50. And if you're above 50, that's good odds. Then we have a couple guys on the team that are showstoppers when it comes to the shootout. Charles Coyle, 4 for 4 this year, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he was even he wasn't one of the go-tos until kind of later in the season.
No,
it was last couple.
He started out. It was the game when they won a shootout in Seattle. That's when they started using him. And he scored there, and then every time since then, when the Blue Jackets were in a shootout, they went to Charlie Coyle, and he got it done because he was just so good in the shootout. Just so fun to watch.
Yeah, it was absolutely great. You know who I think should deserve more shots next year is Zach Werenski. I mean, he's a top 3 scorer on the team. I know he's a defenseman, but his shot. Okay, so his shot is so cool. I watched someone dissect this on YouTube the other day about how he releases low, a little lower than like the normal person was. So it's hard to tell when the shot's coming.
Yes.
Or how hard he shot it.
Yes.
I think that he has a little bit of he made that shot with a loose skate. That was a very important shootout shot.
Yeah.
Very important. Kent Johnson. He was 5 for 7 this year. Absolutely great. 71.4%. Kirill Marchenko. He started off hot. I don't even think that he did bad. He was 6 for 9.
Yeah.
Nice. 66.7%. And I think that your go-to guys next year should be starting out Marchenko, behind him Charles Coyle, and third Kent Johnson. I think that would be a very good triple. That's like your go-to guys. They were the best this year.
Yep.
They'll probably be the best, except I don't like they kept on just throwing out Fantilli out there. And I get it. He's a highly skilled player.
Yeah.
He should be making these.
Yeah.
But he only made 1 of 8. 1. That's 12%, 12.5%. Sean Monahan was in there for 1. I think they had to roll a bunch, so he got 1 in there at one point. He was 0 for 1. But I want to talk about that with Fantilli a little bit, just because I've mentioned this during the season. I'm like, how does he keep getting chosen? I mean, he's a great player. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to sit here and shit on the dude. But what I'm saying is, if you miss that many, you've only made 1. What I'm assuming is that a lot of times, I guess, to the side order, sometimes they might have a practice where whoever does the best is who gets chosen. Whoever makes the most gets chosen. But then, that has to translate to the game.
It does.
And if it's just not, then you gotta throw someone else in there.
Yeah.
And I was glad to see how well Coyle did this year. Super glad to see that. I did not realize, I was not familiar with his game, and even at that, we talked earlier too about how he had kind of a career year this year.
He did.
And sometimes you get that new fresh look, fresh scenery, and you can take off. Happened to Marchment.
It did.
So overall, I kind of judged the coaches more earlier, but overall the players I thought did well with what they were given in the past years with what they've been given. So many of these players have played for 5 plus coaches in the past 5 years. And a new GM, and yeah, those things do improve things. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time. You want to win now. Don Waddell is in win now mode.
Yes.
I think all the fans are like, you better fucking win now. We're gonna start, showing how we feel with our dollars.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about the organization at the end of the season here, just for a quick second. I am not going to be 100% friendly about this. I have no qualms with any person in an organization at all. Every time I've ever had contact with anyone from the Blue Jackets, it's been a great experience. It's been fine. But after a slightly more successful but still disappointing season,
yes,
please do not shell me with advertisements for season fucking tickets. I'm tired. I just don't want to talk about it right now. I don't want to talk about the season with you right now.
Yeah.
I need time to relax. I know that you guys have a job. I know that you have to make money. I know you have to do it. But can you back off a little bit? I don't know why. I've gotten emails. It's like all their posts are like this. I get text about it. I get freaking everything.
Yeah.
I get it. You gotta make your money. You gotta sell your tickets. But to me, it almost shows like a little bit of panic. Like, are they worried that like because this was a bit more disappointing, like not as many people are going to show up next year? I mean, it's how they budget things, but like, dude, can you give it like just I don't know a couple of weeks to like calm down a little bit?
Right.
Because like I'm just not over it yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're still sitting here talking about it, and it's still a little emotionally triggering.
Yeah.
Because of the way it ended and everything.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying. Like I said, I understand you have to do your job, but maybe just tone it back a little bit of a notch because it's just not. It's just rubbing me the wrong way right now. Is all.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, players. I thought they did at least. I mean, see, I don't think anyone shit the bed too bad this year.
No.
I don't want to rip on him, but Kent Johnson did not perform to expectations, and he's well aware of that. So I don't think there's any reason to rip on him about that, but I have to mention it. Overall, I mean, I'll give the players a good 7 or 8 in general out of the season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes it was a 4, but that balances out with the 10s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a couple of key things to improve for next year. Figure the third period out. Figure your power play out. Figure your penalty kill out. And you'll get better.
Yeah.
3 things. There's definitely more than 3 things that can improve on. But get better. You don't have to be perfect. Get them better.
Yes.
And you will go farther.
So for me, I'll just say some things I didn't like about the Blue Jackets, and then we can move because you kind of already said stuff you don't like. So I still like. I don't need you to go back to you because you already did that. So I'll say some stuff I didn't like about the Blue Jackets, and then we can move on to the hockey jersey concepts because we've spent just a good chunk of the show, a little over an hour, talking about the season review and stuff we didn't like and did like, but I'll say some stuff I didn't like and then we can move on. So, for me personally, no more, and no more third period BS. No more. I'm done with that. Just no more. Like, it did get better with Rick Bowness. As the season went along, it did get better. But from the start of next season, that third period BS needs to die and never come back. You just stop. And there needs to be a focus on, as soon as the season starts next October, it's all right, every game matters. And if you have a chance to put it away, you need to put it away. Win. Do not put yourself in a position where you feel like that you need to win a game and hope another team loses, whether it be in front of you or below you in the standings, because that is not a good strategy. Sometimes it works, but last 2 seasons it has not worked. You can't do that anymore. You just can't. You need to put yourself in a position to where you don't have to worry about that. It's just like, well, if we win this game, we're in the playoffs. Not just, well, we have to win this game and we hope that other teams lose in front of us or behind us. Do not do that anymore. I do not want to see that ever again. Stop doing that. And, last 2 seasons, you've had some losing streaks that cost you. You go on a 6-game losing streak, a 4-game losing streak. You cannot do that anymore. Yes, you are not going to win every game. That is not realistic. It'd be cool, but it's not realistic. But you need to limit those. At most, it needs to be 1 to 2 games. That's it. Do not let it go to 3 or more. Do not put yourself in that position. Do not do that. Do not look back at the scene like, man, if we would have won that game or 2, we would have gotten in. Do not put yourself in that position. You want to be able to look back and say, oh, man, we played a good season. We got into the playoffs and because this and this and this. And, man, we won that big game, and that's the big reason we got in. That's what you want. You don't want what's happened the last 2 seasons. Had you won just 1 game, you would have gotten in. We don't want that anymore. No more. Another thing that has to be better. Overtime. Granted, this season was better than last season, but still needs to be better now. So many times that the Blue Jackets had chances to put it away, and they couldn't do it. They would find some way to piss it away and lose in overtime. And had you won some of those games, you're in. And some of that, it comes from experience, and some of that just, I did not understand some of this overtime lines that the Blue Jackets have, where, for the most part, you would be putting guys out there that had no business being out there. Where other teams, every other shift, they're playing their top guys. And there were moments in the season where the Blue Jackets did not do that. They're sticking guys out there that do not belong there. And then maybe by like the 3rd or 4th shift in the overtime, if it's not over yet, then they put the top guys out there. Stop doing that. Stop. Now, they got better about it as the season went along. As the season went along, the Blue Jackets, every other shift, were putting their top guys out there. But right from the beginning of next season, if a game's in overtime, first and foremost, you need to put it away. No more losing. And get your top guys out there right away. No more of this, putting guys out there that don't belong. That's not good enough. That's not going to get it done. I need to see it where it's like every other shift, it's guys like a Kirill Marchenko, a Zach Werenski, an Adam Fantilli, a Kent Johnson, a Mason Marchment, a Denton Mateychuk, and then you just go down the list and you just do that. Boom, boom, boom. Every other shift. It needs to be like that. I do not need to see guys out there that do not belong out there. Sometimes you're playing 3rd or 4th line guys in 3-on-3, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, no. I like them. They're good players for the Blue Jackets, but there's a time and place for that. And in 3-on-3 overtime, when you need offense, you need to put the puck in the net. You need guys that you know that you can count on to score a goal. That needs to be better, and I hope it is. That needs to be better. Another thing is, late in the season, if you find yourself in a position again, which I do believe they will, when you're being a good competitive team fighting for a playoff spot, you have chances to put it away. You need to put it away. Win those games. It needs to happen. That's what it needs to be done. It needs to be done. And, Kent Johnson, I need you to be better. I know that you need to be better because Rick Bowness told the Columbus media that he knows that he needs to be better. He was in tears. That is Rick Bowness' words. Kent Johnson was in tears. He was crying because he knew it was that bad. We need 2024, 2025 Kent Johnson. The Kent Johnson that played his best season ever. Not just with the Blue Jackets, but his entire hockey career. 24 goals, 57 points, ridiculously good. Good in the shootout, and could beat you in so many ways. On the outside, in the inside, real good shot. He can make an awesome pass to set up a goal. He could beat you in so many ways last season. Generally speaking, we did not see that Kent Johnson. We saw a Kent Johnson that got pushed off the puck. And for a guy like Kent Johnson that's a smaller guy, that matters. We need a Kent Johnson that puts that weight back on so he doesn't get pushed off the puck. And we need him to be 2024, 2025 Kent Johnson. Because when you're not that Kent Johnson, it not only brings you down, it brings the Blue Jackets down. It contributes to why they struggled on offense towards the end of the season. Because when that's happening, if you're playing the Blue Jackets, all you know is, all right, go after that first line with Mason Marchment and Kirill Marchenko and Adam Fantilli, who are playing really good. And if you shut that down, there's a good chance you beat the Blue Jackets because Kent Johnson and others were not playing good. That needs to be better. And from the start of the season, it needs to be, all right, let's go. Time to get it done. Every game means the same thing. It's that important. A game that you win in like October, November is the same thing as a game that you play in like late March or April. Get it done. You know, when the Blue Jackets went on a 16-game winning streak during the 2016-2017 season, that was so beneficial to them because it gave them a little cushion where even if they played a bad game or two and they lost, they could afford to have that because of that little cushion that they got from that 16-game winning streak. I'm not even saying that you got to go on another heater where you win 16 games in a row, but go on some sort of winning streak that gives you a little cushion that you can afford to lose a game or two. It's like, well, it sucks that you lost, but that's okay. We got a little cushion here. Not where it's like, damn, you really needed to win that game, and now you have a very small chance of winning, or now you lost that game, and now it's basically done. No more of that. When you have a chance to put it away, put it away. And just the team in general. We can't have this thing where some guys are not there and they're not really trying, and some guys are there and they are trying. We can't have that anymore. That contributed to why the Blue Jackets did not do as well as they did. We need 100% team effort from everyone, where everyone is buying in, where everyone is trying their best and playing good, giving it their all, shift after shift, playing a good game both offensively and defensively. We need that. I do believe we'll get that because you watch the press conferences that the Blue Jackets had talking to the Columbus media after the season was over. The general consensus was that there was some stuff that the Blue Jackets liked that they did, but overall it was very disappointing. So take everything that you learned from this season, just the bad and the good, learn from that and use that as motivation to do better, because we've seen you do it. We know you can be a good team. We've seen you do it more consistently. And that's all I have to say about that. And we could, anything else you want to say, Hefty Doc? Otherwise, we can just move on to the hockey jersey concepts.
We'll have plenty of time this offseason to kind of cover up any like individual stuff people I want to talk about. So let's see, do I have anything? I guess just a little bit of news. Maybe we already covered it. Graves Matejchuk play for Canada.
Yep.
And the World's coming up. Olivia's going to play for the USA, and then kind of a shock to most people because he's been the go-to Latvian goaltender for any international play. Is Elvis Merzlikins will not play for Latvia due to personal reasons. Maybe he's working on next season already. Maybe he values his time off as he's getting a little bit older.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 35. I ain't knocking you for being old, man. But you know, making sure you get that time off in the season, and come back fully refreshed and mentally well and everything. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but there's not a lot of NHLers from Latvia.
Yeah.
And internationally, I'm just gonna say it. It's gonna sound mean. They don't win. Not like first place.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I also love that Matthew Olivier has dual citizenship.
Yeah.
He was born in Biloxi, Mississippi, and lived most of his life, grew up in Ontario, but plays for the United States in international play. Love to see it, which is good to see that he's feeling better now too. I know that he went out, he injured his hand there at the end with the fight near the end of the season and whatnot.
Yeah.
So anyway, on to the jerseys.
Yes. Well, as we always do, we're big jersey people, and we like looking at different hockey jersey concepts that people have for the Blue Jackets. So we're going to continue that trend today. Starting off from dm.graphic.design.co, and is basically he's doing a series for every team where he calls it Hometown Remix. And so he made a white jersey for the Blue Jackets, and the caption is, "The Blue Jackets Hometown Remix jersey uses a unique chest stripe to pay homage to the Union Army uniforms and the team's namesake." So you have a white jersey, and there's like the little chest stripe that you see on the Union Army uniform, where blue and red, and obviously it's the cannon on it, and there's like little stars on the sleeve, and you have blue numbers outlined in red, a little blue, then white and red around the collar. That's kind of, I like that. I like the Ohio flag on the pants, so that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
So overall, I like this. What you thinking of that, Doug?
I'm a big fan of this, and normally I like the darker kind of jerseys.
Yeah.
Like it does say Hometown Remix, and we all are aware that home games used to be played by the team used to wear the lighter jersey for the home games. But now they do the darker jerseys. But I would 100% buy this in a heartbeat. This is sick. It's got remnants of the third jersey because of the big Cam logo in the middle, but the red, white, and blue, with it being primarily a white jersey. The thing that actually is selling me on this the most is the star things on the wrist.
Yes.
That's kind of cool. For audio listeners, there's like a star like that goes up to the wrist cuff, but the bottom part of the star is filled in blue, and like it goes all the way to the cuff. There's no gap in the bottom to show the points. It just kind of, anyway. I like this a lot. I would have to give this a shit. I even like the bottom striping. I liked it with the blue pants. Everything else just felt really thought out. I mean, this isn't good. A good old 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
Would buy.
Yeah. So next up, this is from CV Designs 29, also on Instagram. So basically, it's his take on the Blue Jackets' third jersey, where instead of like that cream shoulders, it's more light blue shoulders. It does have the cannon. It has chevrons on it. Dark blue numbers outlined in like that cream, and then like stars on the sleeves. And then there's Kepi logos on the shoulder patch. And then like the chevrons are also on the pants in the socks. And honestly, obviously the Canon logo in the middle. I really do like this. It fits their Civil War theme perfectly. The Canon, the chevrons, the Kepi shoulder patch, and I like the color contrast between like the dark blue and the light blue as well.
Yeah, this is a cool redesign of the third jersey. I like the concept here with the chevrons and everything. It throws me off a little bit on the socks for whatever reason, but in general, I like this. I don't think I like it as much as the current third jersey,
Yeah.
but I would give this one a solid 7 out of 10.
Let's see. Okay, so then basically using the vintage cream as the main color, and then dark blue shoulders, and then again chevrons, stars. You have like a cream number outline. I think that's silver, and then the same thing with blue pants, light blue stripes, chevrons on the socks, Kepi shoulder patch, Canon. I think this is pretty good, and it definitely gives off that kind of old school like Civil War feel, like something you would see in the Civil War. So I think this not as good as the blue one, but I think this is pretty good. You know.
Yeah, I like this as the last one was really good too. It's very similar to the last one except for that cream color, and I'm gonna like this one like a tiny bit better than that one. I'd have to give it 7.5 out of 10. This one's cool. I like it.
And it's kind of hard to see, but even like the Canon logo on the helmet.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool.
Pretty cool.
Let's see here. And then this guy has a take on the Blue Jackets home jersey where he changes it. So obviously it's the main flag logo on the middle, Kepi shoulder patches, and then white numbers outlined in red, white stripe, and then a red stripe, and then a white stripe, blue pants, blue socks. I kind of like this, like an all blue look, so I think that's cool. And it's a slightly different shade of blue compared to what the Blue Jackets use, like a lighter shade of dark blue. So I like this. This is pretty cool.
This is a pretty cool little redesign. It ain't too crazy from what the actual one already is. It basically takes those vertical lines that go from the sleeves to the neck and puts them horizontal around the elbow and the waist. And I actually like this a lot. I mean, I low key, I think. Now, if you change the shoulder patches, what are those? The red Kepi ones?
It's the Kepi. It's the Kepi logo.
But yeah, overall, I like this a lot. 8 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah. And I've always wondered what it would look like if the Blue Jackets had an all blue look. I mean, they kind of already have that with like the third jersey, but like I wonder what it would look like if they had like an all blue look as the home jersey. And I see something like this, like, oh, that looks good. You know, I like that. So next up. So also on Instagram from Unstable Jackets fan and CBJ Fan Zone. This is someone that really went with the whole Civil War theme and took it to a whole new level. Because we have, okay, so basically it's like their take on the Blue Jackets outdoor game, but you're using third jersey colors. I think they all look good, but you're named the Blue Jackets. You need to have a blue jersey.
Yeah.
So to not have a blue jersey is not good, and no gray because that's what the South wore, and you're named after. So
Cannon smoke. You're right.
So like. You're named after the Union soldiers that fought to free the slaves during the Civil War that wore blue jackets. So no gray. So like they look good, but like you're the Blue Jackets. You need blue jerseys.
Yeah. That middle one's cool. Like I like the white one the most, I think.
Yeah.
Because of the striping.
Yeah.
But yeah, as an away jersey, obviously. Shit. First one, 5 out of 10. Second one, 7 out of 10. Last one, 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't mean to buzz through these really, really quick. My stomach's hurting really bad, man. I gotta go. I might be back by the end, but if you can carry on, I'm so sorry to leave early, man. I gotta go.
Just one last thought. What do you think of these Union soldier looks?
I like the idea of the different logo there.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with the. I mean, actually, I like the blue one the most. Blue one's an 8 out of 10.
Yes.
Middle one, 5 out of 10. The gray one, I gotta go like 2 out of 10. Stop making them gray.
Yeah.
I thought I liked the idea, and then you mentioned the Confederate thing. Union cap. Ooh, I probably like this one the most, actually. That's an 8 out of 10 for me on the blue one. Yeah. That's an 8 out of 10 for me on the white one. It's a 2 out of 10 for me on the gray one.
So, yeah.
No. Don't do gray.
Yeah, don't.
Mine.
So,
anyway, I'm not gonna exit because I might be back, but I will be.
All right. Then.
See you soon.
Yeah. Bye. So, yeah, blue jersey. I like that cannon. I like that cannon jersey. I like that blue cannon jersey. So basically, it's like third jersey, but using outdoor game logo. So, like, I like that. I really do like that. The blue one's okay, but everyone else, I'm not really feeling this one. So that one is good. The blue cannon, blue kepi, blue Union soldier is cool. So like I like this. This is good. This is good. Let's see here. What else do I have to talk about here? Yeah, I'll put this up on the screen here. It gives me a little something to talk about. So, let's see here. Okay. So Columbus is getting a women's soccer team, and some people like it, some people don't. There is some controversy behind it because there is a park in Columbus on the south side of Columbus called McCoy Park that many people like. They like going there, and if the women's soccer team had their way, that McCoy Park would go away, and that's where they would play. So some people are not very fond about that. And I recently made a post on the show's Twitter page, so you should check that out. Follow us on Twitter. But I'll read the tweet, and then I'll say some stuff of what I have to say about this, and I'll put it on the screen. I'll zoom in so people can see it better. Okay. So I wrote, Columbus is getting a women's soccer team. Columbus likes their sports teams. The Blue Jackets, Crew, Clippers, Ohio State, etc. So a women's soccer team could work. People like soccer. The Crew get good support. But at what point is it too much? Is the market oversaturated for sports in Columbus? Blue Jackets, Crew, Clippers, Fury, Aviators, Ohio State, etc. there's only so much attention, money, etc. That people have for sports, and when the where the women's soccer would be taking away a place that people in Columbus like, McCoy Park. People are not very fond of that idea. Is it worth it? It is a tougher sell to sell women's sports because it's women's sports. I didn't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's just the truth. That's just how it is. Women's sports are not as popular. In some hypothetical scenario, if Columbus got an NBA team or an NFL team and they wanted to use that same land that the women's soccer team wants to use, you'd have a way better chance to sell it because an NBA team or an NFL team would matter to a lot of people. Look, Columbus has an NFL team, or look, Columbus has an NBA team, a sense of pride that people would have, just like what the Blue Jackets have done. Look, Columbus has a hockey team, something that has helped Columbus stand out and help Columbus break free from a cowtown perception that only cares about Ohio State. That is how the outside world viewed Columbus. The Chill Factor book talks about that. Also, people in today's world are not very fond of taxpayer-funded stadiums. Women's soccer could work, but I think it is going to be a tougher sell.
Yeah, I think it's not like a. Personally, I think a women's hockey team would be cooler, especially given the fact that one of the best college hockey teams in the United States is the women's Ohio State University hockey team.
Yes. So, because I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's just women's sports in general are not as popular, so you're already starting at a disadvantage. And then you're picking one of the more niche sports, soccer, and then you're making it not only is it just soccer, it's women's soccer, and then that makes that even harder sell. It just is. And then on top of that, it's like you could be taking away a park in Columbus that people like going to, and you add that to that, and that makes it harder. And on top of that, from my perspective, I'd be like, you could be taking away a park that people like going to for a women's soccer team.
Where's it going?
McCoy Park.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look that up a little bit.
It's on the southern part of Columbus.
Okay.
So like
3-acre community park.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're taking that away from like a women's soccer team that just that makes that sell even tougher. I bet you if it was, you would have a much easier sell if it was like a football team or something, because that matters a lot more to people.
Are they gonna build a stadium, or are they just gonna throw up bleachers?
Because
like there's already like kids football and soccer fields there.
Well, it'd be a thing like a practice facility, I think. I'll admit I haven't looked that much into it, but
Gotcha.
But the general idea is like that I have, and other people I've seen say this is you're taking away from that for like a women's soccer team. Like that's not. It's already a tough sell as it is. Now you're making it harder. And it's not to say it could work, because it could, because Columbus loves its sports teams. The Blue Jackets and the Crew and the Clippers in Ohio State and so much more get good support. But is the market oversaturated? You can only do so much money and attention and that people have. And the women's soccer team might be on the short end of the stick because people can only do so much. And another thing is you're just kind of picking a niche sport, soccer. Like people like soccer, but that's kind of a niche sport of all of them. So that makes it even harder. And then women's soccer, that makes it even harder. And I agree with you, Hefty Duck, that if you were to pick a sport that is women, you would have an easier time selling it hockey, because hockey is one of the big four sports in America. You could sell that easier. And like you said, Ohio State women's hockey is basically consistently good now, where the last 5 seasons they've been in the national championship game, winning 2 of them. Like that would be an easier sell for women's hockey compared to, women's soccer, and that's just how it is. So this isn't to say that they can't get it done. They can, but it's just you are facing an uphill battle here, and it's going to be really hard.
I don't necessarily disagree with you on a lot of that. I'm curious as to how much it really costs to run a women's soccer team. And is this going to be what's the big women's league here? Is it like the women's MLS or something like that?
It's
Major League Soccer. Anyway, so I think that there might be a few positives for this too. I'll bring a few counterpoints here just for a difference of opinion, to play devil's advocate a bit. Columbus is a pretty progressive city, and I think that I'm not sure what the attendance is like for the Fury, but the attendance for the Crew is pretty good. So looking at the fans who are already interested in soccer, I mean, they can always go and watch Ohio State, or I think Otterbein has soccer too. There's a couple other colleges down around the whole area that would have soccer for college level, but professionally, they can go see the Crew, which is a huge sell. Or you can go to Cincinnati and watch Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So the interest in soccer is there. It's just like what you said. In general, a lot of the women's sports aren't attended as much.
Right.
Now, something I've been noticing is a trend in this past decade. Sports betting. Let's talk about it for just a second, because I think this is going to have to do with it. So,
Yeah.
there's always been betting on some level. It didn't necessarily be the sole thing that made the sports world go round.
Right.
It is now. We're watching on FanDuel Sports Network. A betting company bought a network to advertise itself more and shove it in your face and shove it down your throat more. So I personally, if there's possibility of betting involved, it'll survive, I think, because there's just too many degenerates out there. And I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you're betting on sports. I'm just saying, like, what has it all become?
Yes.
It's opening itself up to all this. I don't know. Anyway, like sports betting is not a new thing, but to the level it's getting now is insane. But this is what I tend to think about all these new professional leagues opening up. And you know what? I'm not against it in any way. I do agree with you. I think it's going to be a bit of a tough sell at first.
Yeah.
I'm hoping with the interest that's already in soccer in Columbus, and just being a little bit more progressive, like I mentioned, that it would hopefully take off a little bit. But it's more of a personal thing for me. I would love to see a women's hockey team. That would be cool. At the same time, you can go see Ohio State women's, like, they're really, really good.
Yeah.
And their facilities are probably not much better than the professional team would get around Columbus. Unless they got to play it nationwide. That would be sick.
Yeah.
Does the women's league run the same time the men's does? I guess it's hard not to try to run it a little bit more in the winter time, because that's like when hockey's most prevalent. But
So
anyways, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I'll just say this, that now part of it is the Blue Jackets, they don't own Nationwide Arena, so they don't have a say in this, whether if they want it or not. But Nationwide Arena is in the process of getting improvements. They got a new roof, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that they'll be getting eventually in the future. And the Blue Jackets, because they don't own Nationwide Arena, they really don't have a say in that, whether if they want it or not. But even if you put that off to the side, some of that, yeah, it's being paid for by taxpayers and other stuff, but it's a much easier sell to do that because hockey, people like hockey more, people like the Blue Jackets. And it's like, man, this is already an awesome place to see a game. Blue Jackets games are fun. And the sell is it could be even better if we do these things. And then you get more people to come and more money and, whole bunch of other stuff. And you look at what the Blue Jackets have done in their 25 years of existence. So they turn a bad area in downtown Columbus into a good area, an awesome area, and it's now just the crown jewel of Columbus that has brought now billions of dollars to the Columbus economy and state of Ohio economy. They're just that big and that powerful and that important to Columbus and the state of Ohio that when you say, if you do some of this, it could, these upgrades, it could work out. You could get more of that. That's more valuable, and it's just an easier sell because people like the Blue Jackets, and hockey is a top 4 sport. People like that more compared to soccer. So that's just an easier sell. Again, not to say it can't get done for soccer, but it's just you're pitching a niche sport, and it's a tougher sell. Can it get done? Yes, but again, tougher sell. Whereas if Ohio State or the Blue Jackets or someone else needed something, it would be easier to sell because more people like that stuff.
Yeah. Oops. So it's the NWSL, National Women's Soccer League, and looks like their season's that's right. They're right in the middle of their season right now.
Yeah.
I used to be a lot bigger into soccer. It's I played all through high school and everything, and I for whatever reason, just kind of fell off after a while. In part due to the distance from it. It's easier now than it was to see soccer and stuff like that online. But in 2010 to 2020 or so, it was not very as accessible, I thought. And yeah.
So, all right.
Well, good luck to him anyway.
Yeah, good luck. It's gonna be a tough sell.
Yeah.
So now you did leave, so I do want to finish this up here. So
oh yeah, sure.
We do have basically a blue cannon, a blue third jersey cannon, and it's just the third jersey, but it uses the outdoor game cannon instead of the third jersey logo.
Yeah, I think with this one, that white one is just calling to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, and I normally like the darker jerseys, like I said. There's something I like how some people might think it's like too plain or something like that, but I kind of like how it's just featuring just the cannon.
Yes.
That's kind of neat. I'll give the first one 8 out of 10. Second one 9 out of 10. And like I said, I do not like the white away jerseys of almost any team. I think it feels watered down, but that's just me. I don't know. And then the gray one 2 out of 10.
Yeah. So you got to look at this, but let's get a more in-depth detail of the Union Soldier look. Honestly, I like
Soldier one's interesting. Now, I think that the Union Soldier might be a little bit nicer as a shoulder patch.
Yes.
it has that shape to it, and it's just kind of like from a distance, like just like glancing at it from like a distance, you're like, what is that? So I like it. I mean, I'll give it a positive rating. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. I don't remember what I rated it earlier, but I'm looking at it a little bit closer now. Now, actually, so the first one, I'll give it a passing 7 out of 10. The second one, I
The shoulders I don't like. Blue
the
shoulders.
the shoulders and the striping. So they're using the cream color, but it's right next to the bright white, which kind of just makes it look like a piss stain or something. So yeah, I gotta go like 3. I'll give that one a 4 out of 10 because the next one I'm gonna give 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Rough. I like the first one.
I want to see blue shoulders on the white.
Yeah, for sure.
That's,
And then light blue instead of the cream on the bottom
yeah.
would probably have sold it better for me.
You know, another more thing, I could see it. Like, I like the logo. I like it on the front of the jersey, but I think that would look really good as a shoulder patch.
Yeah, it's like the bottom's rounded and perfect for it too. Yeah.
Shoulder patch. That's just really good. All right. Cappy logo.
I like this one better than the last one for sure. Once again, I kind of forget. I all of a sudden, I had a chili cheese dog from Dirty Frank's right before the show, and just hit me wrong, hit me weird. But we're all good now. Sorry, audience, you didn't really need to know that, but
Yeah.
fuck it. I'm back. So I forgot I rated this earlier, but I like this one a lot. The blue one, I that's a 7.5 out of 10 for me all day, every day. I
Yeah.
think that they maybe should have. There's something with the middle of the top of the kepi with how light that blue is that's throwing me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is. I feel like it should be lighter. I feel like all the blue, that light blue there, should be like a shade lighter.
Yeah.
Icky. Middle one, once again, the stripes, the cream color, and then is that a black stripe? That's just black, isn't it? That's not even dark blue. It's black.
Yeah. I think it's a dark blue, but it comes up as black.
Oh, I'm just looking. Yeah, you might be right. Honestly, I think it was cooler if it was black, but then it would look like Vegas. But in any case, they put the cream next to the white again. It looks better on this one for some reason.
Yeah.
Last one's ass because it's gray. But let's see. First one, I'll give that one an 8 out of 10. I like it. I'd buy that if it came out. Second one, 5 out of 10. Last one, 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
I might be a little biased, but they call the gray one for any of our audio listeners out there. They call the gray one the Canon Smoke Alt.
No, it just
is what they called it, and it's like, but
it's gray.
It's gray. Yeah. I'd be less pissed if it was freaking red.
Yes,
and we've seen that.
And that's.
Although you can't be the red coats either. So what?
Right.
Oh my god.
Yeah, boy. Anyways, we did the Canon. I only like the blue one of this one.
Same. What is the alt even trying to do? They're just trying to piss me off with this one.
And
what?
Where's
this
the blue?
The worst one.
Where's the blue on the white jersey? You know.
Yeah, they're featuring red a bit too much on the two non-blue ones.
Yeah.
For my liking.
Yeah.
First one, you know what's weird? The shoulder patch is kind of throwing me. Yeah, it feels too new. It feels too modern because they have like the old school like Columbus like going down diagonally.
Yeah.
If it was the Kepi or the Canon, excellent.
Yeah.
Once again, cream next to white, not my favorite. Kind of weird choice. Gray, so puke. First one, I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'd wear if it was given to me. Second one, I'll give that one a 4.5 out of 10, and last one I'll give a 2 out of 10. I'm only rating it like 2 at all because it says Columbus on it.
Yeah.
At least they got like that part right. They tried.
So next up, it's not a jersey, but it's a logo, and from Sean McCarthy guy on Instagram, who basically had a Union Soldier logo, and I like it.
Yeah. This is one that's kind of made its rounds a little bit here and there. And then we've seen other kind of variations using the Union Soldier. I think that would be something cool to lean into because we already have the Cannon Crew.
Yes.
They're like mascots in some way. I mean, they're like the what do you call it? Pep squad or pep band, whatever. Yeah, the Cannon Crew. Yeah. And so I like this idea too because someone could either, especially if you have a big beard, you could either just disguise someone in it or get like we talked like I think even last week about like the big head logo with like how the Cavs do it.
Right.
And this would be another kind of cool one. This reminds me of the Sens logo a little bit. I think one of their old ones. Oh, you know what? It's good call out putting the Peoples in because that's what it is. That there was like this weird Sens jersey that they call it the Scooby Doo jersey, I think, because the one guy's the eyes looked really goofy. I like it. Critiques would be nice for a gold buckle. Would be nice for the gold hockey sticks. And yeah. There's nothing that tells me Columbus, Ohio in this is all. Oh, he hit a C in the belt buckle. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but there's literally a C in the belt buckle.
Look at that. That's cool.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But see how he did the top of the kepi here with just like that one swoop instead of filling the whole thing in? I like that better. Yeah. 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. I'll give it 9 out of 10 because this was not AI.
Oh,
he actually made these, I believe.
Right.
Because I think I follow Sean McCarthy
guy. Hey, I've seen him post a lot. He's a big Blue Jackets guy, so he's posted a lot of Blue Jacket stuff. And when I saw this, I'm like, oh, that's good. I have to talk about that on the show. So.
Yeah, he's a. Well, I follow him now anyway. He doesn't post a whole lot, but every now and then he comes out with some pretty cool designs.
Right.
Oh, and I think he is a Blue Jackets fan too because he bought the. I'm creeping on his Twitter right now. He bought the outdoor jersey.
Well, this is Instagram page.
Oh, right on.
I got this from his Instagram page. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll give this one 8.5 out of 10.
Yes. So let's see here. I'm checking with my bookmarks to see if I have anything else before we get out of here. Let's see here. Okay. Now, you know what? We'll put this up on the screen. Last week on the show, we talked about how Jay Fresh was wrong, that he thinks the Cannon is not good, and we ripped on him pretty good for not thinking that the Cannon is not good because the Cannon is awesome, and the Cannon fits the Blue Jackets Civil War theme more, and the Cannon helps the Blue Jackets stand out, and Cannon shoulder patch and Cannon jerseys like the outdoor game jersey or Cannon third jersey like the one I'm wearing today. Like it's just good. And that people love the Cannon and people get their picture taken at the Cannon long line at the Cannon before Blue Jacket games, and Blue Jackets fans like the Cannon, and people who don't like the Blue Jackets like the Cannon. It's just that good. and I made a post on our show's Twitter page basically explaining that people like the Cannon, and it was responding to a fan who said, "Yeah, Jay from TH0MATHY on Twitter said, yeah, Jay Fresh was way off here. If you guys were winning Stanley Cups, the Cannon would be seen as absolutely awesome." I mean, it already is, but I think if they're better, more consistent, that would help.
That's a little valid.
It is, but if they were, it's still awesome regardless, but if they were doing a little better, it would help. But it is in the branding that, Team Sucks, LMAO. But yeah, I agree. And then I responded to that by saying, yeah, the Cannon's awesome and whatnot. Let's see here. I said, yeah, Jay Fresh is off here. Correct. The Blue Jackets Cannon is awesome. Loved by Blue Jackets fans and non-Blue Jackets fans. There is a long line to get your picture taken at the Cannon at every Blue Jackets game. A lot of people wear the Cannon jerseys, both their jersey and outdoor game jersey at Blue Jackets games. When people rank Blue Jackets jerseys, the Cannon jerseys are at top of the list. The Blue Jackets Cannon is one of the most unique tradition in sports, not just hockey. The Cannon helps the Blue Jackets stand out. The Cannon fits the Blue Jackets Civil War theme perfectly, shooting off a Civil War style cannon after the Blue Jackets score a goal is awesome. People's favorite Blue Jackets logos are Cannon logos. The Cannon is just that good. And the same guy responds to that by saying, yeah, I'm a Red Wings / TTUN fan, or that's a Michigan, so he likes the Red Wings in Michigan. So I have absolutely no bias in saying that the Cannon is cool, but is objectively just sick logo, and the jerseys are too. Like I said, if your original 6 franchise Stanley Cups, it would be the most popular traditions in sports. I'd say it's already a popular tradition, but that's besides the point. And he posts a picture of the Blue Jackets Cannon jersey, 3rd jersey, and just, yes, it's awesome. So why do I bring this up is that even fans who don't like the Blue Jackets like the Cannon, like the Cannon. And it's not just that random Detroit fan on Twitter. It's also the hockey guy. So we're going to play.
I had her go through and verify what was in this box. Oh my gosh. That logo.
Why did it do?
I had her.
I don't know why it's okay. But anyways. So even the hockey guy does it. He really likes the Cannon jersey. He said that many times. And when he reviewed the Blue Jackets outdoor game jersey, and this is what he had to say about it.
I had her go through and verify what was in this box. Oh my gosh. That logo, that is absolutely ridiculous. Look at the size. Look at the size of that logo. That is insane. That is huge. Right in the neck, just Columbus Blue Jackets. Really, really, very, very nice. I like the CBJ there on the shoulder as well. Hey, look, I have loved the Cannon for a long time. This is bigger than my head. I know. Bigger than your fat head. Yes, it is. But yeah, that's absolutely, totally fantastic. That's great. I really like the silver on the sleeves as well. Kind of got a nice sparkle in there. Anytime you can get the sparkle on the silver or the gold on the jersey, I am a big fan of that. So yeah, that's very nice. And again, size 46. That is excellent. I knew I was going to like the Columbus one. So since I knew.
So the hockey guy, who's basically one of the big hockey fans out there and big hockey people in the hockey world and one of the most popular hockey YouTube channels out there. He's been for years, you watch his videos when he talks about the Blue Jackets, he always says that he likes the Cannon and he wishes the Blue Jackets would use the Cannon more. And that is just even more proof that the Blue Jackets cannon, is loved universally, not just by Blue Jackets fans, but also people who don't like the Blue Jackets or don't pay attention to them as much. Even the outside hockey world loves the cannon. So I just wanted to talk about that and throw that out there. That the cannon is awesome, and even people who are not necessarily Blue Jackets fans even like the cannon, and it's so good that even like the hockey guy likes it. It's just that good.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite of what they currently have. I like the outdoor one for something special. I don't know which one I'd like. To me, it's almost a tie. I do like the outdoor one, but I really do like. I've liked the third one for so long.
Yes.
I don't know.
Because for me personally, when you look at the third jersey cannon that the Blue Jackets have, and you look at this jersey in general, it gives off that old school like Civil War look, like something that you would see in the Civil War. Just the colors, that dark blue with the light blue and that vintage looking cream, and the cannon logo and like the strings on the jersey, it just kind of gives off that old school kind of Civil War look, like something you'd see in the Civil War. And it just fits the Blue Jackets Civil War theme perfectly, and I like that. Even the logo kind of looks like an old school kind of looking logo. I like that. And then the outdoor game jersey obviously was awesome, and cannon logo, chevrons, and there's a nod to the kepi on the shoulder patch, and just done very well. Also fits with the Blue Jackets Civil War theme. So I just like both. I don't know. I don't know if I could pick one or the other, because they're just both good jerseys, both that's that good. The more I think about it, honestly, if I was the Blue Jackets and if I wanted to change jerseys and do a rebrand, I would just go full on Civil War and just Civil War theme. Cannon, kepi, Union soldier, and a jersey for me would be like cannon is the main logo, and then kepi shoulder patch for like the home jersey, and then keep this as like the third jersey.
That would be cool.
Anyways.
Yeah, I gotta go out of here soon.
Yeah, well, I don't really have anything else other to say than our final stuff, and then we get out of here, because we kind of used up all we had to say for now, and a good chunk of the show, over an hour plus, was talking about the season review, which is good. We really got into it, but Hefty Doc and I, we're going to say our stuff, and then we're going to get out of here, because I really don't have a lot to say after that. So we'll Hefty Doc say your stuff, I'll say my stuff, and then we can get out of here.
Sure. So yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us wherever you're watching from. If you're watching us on Twitter, check out our YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, check us out on Twitter. We are on both. If you want to listen to us on audio, check us out on Google Play Music, Spotify, Apple, wherever you can find podcasts, we are there. Blanking. We don't do advertisements on the show, so check me out. I'm Lance Schrock Tattoos on Instagram. I do some work. I'm going to be in Cincinnati in 2 weeks. Shit, not even 2 weeks. Frick. It's coming up soon. Very soon. So if y'all want tattooed, come see me at the Cincinnati Tattoo Arts Festival, May 8th through 10th. Easiest way to support us is like, subscribing, and sharing, like I said. Other than that, thank you all for tuning in.
So, you should.
Hell yeah.
I'm just saying, you're just throwing this one out there, totally get a tattoo from Hefty Doc at Shatterproof Tattoo in New Philadelphia, Ohio.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drive for some of y'all, but you can come up 71 and hit 77, I think, and you're there in like an hour 40.
So
come hang out. It's a fun time.
Yeah. So get a tattoo.
Mikey's Late Night Slice while you're coming up.
Yeah. I mean, so get a tattoo from Hefty Doc at Shatterproof Tattoos in New Philadelphia, Ohio.
Hell yeah, brother.
So,
That's how I
but anyway, like I gotta say my stuff, and then we're gonna get out of here. So as I always do, gotta give a shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. What a guy, the best of the best. The life of the party, so fun to be at, so fun to be with, so fun to see you at family get-togethers and birthday parties and holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and so much more. Love talking hockey with you. A big inspiration for me. You are loved by your family and friends, including me. You are missed very dearly by your family and friends, including me. I wish you're still here so I could, talk some sports with you. Baseball season is here. You're a big Chicago Cubs guy. Of course, I like the Reds, but, wish you're still here so I could get your thoughts on how you think the Cubs are doing right now. Your thoughts on how you think the Cubs will do this season. And I can share my thoughts on how I think the Reds are doing and how I think the Reds will do this season. And, you're also a big hockey guy. The Blackhawks were your favorite team, but the Blue Jackets became your second favorite team because of me. And I gave you Blue Jacket stuff and like a shirt or a hat, and you always wore it. You didn't have to do that, but you did, so I appreciate that. And obviously, you're wearing the Union Blue Soldier scarf that I gave you, so, appreciate that. So that was cool. But, so wish you're still here, some talk, some hockey with you, so I could see how you thought the Blackhawks did this season, and I could share my thoughts on how I think the Blue Jackets did this season. So, shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Wish you're still here. Shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Thank you for everything.
Rest in peace, Uncle Doc.
Next week's show will be on, let's see here. We're going to look that up on the calendar. So it's going to be May. It's going to be our first show in May. So I'm going to look that one up. So next week's show will be on Monday, May 4th, 2026, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time, live on YouTube and Twitter. Again, one last time, the next show will be on Monday, May 4th, 2026 at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time, where we will be doing a little player report card. We're starting player report card series. And the first guy that we will be talking about will be Adam Fantilli. We're going to do a little Adam Fantilli report card. How did he do? We're going to talk about that. There'll be some other stuff we'll talk about too, but the main focus of the show will be a Adam Fantilli report card. So tune into next week's show on Monday, May 4th, 2026 at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time for a Adam Fantilli report card. How did he do? He did pretty good, but we'll get more into depth for that. So tune in to next week's show, Monday, April 4th, 2026 at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for a Adam Fantilli report card. And one last thing for me. Don't forget to check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Follow Union Blue Soldiers on all social media platforms. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. We do a lot of fun stuff like marches from our bar to Nationwide Arena that have been featured on TV like 10 TV, ABC 6 News, NBC4. It's been talked about in 97.1 The Fan. It's been featured in the Columbus Dispatch. It's been featured on the scoreboard at Blue Jackets games. The Blue Jackets have participated in the march. Stinger's been there. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good stuff there. And, you know, I'm going to put up a little picture up on the screen here. So, like, look, these are just pictures from, you know, marches that Union Blue Soldiers has had over the years. We got 2019, 2019, 2018, 2021. Stinger was there. The people who throw the T-shirts into the crowd at Blue Jackets games were there. Clay Hall from ABC 6 News was at a march. He's been to 2 of them. So it's just a lot of fun. We do a lot of fun stuff with the marches before every Blue Jackets home opener. And if the Blue Jackets make the playoffs, we'll do one there. But so check it out. The next one is going to be the Blue Jackets home opener this upcoming October, next season. It's a lot of fun, and it brings Blue Jackets fans together to cheer on the Blue Jackets. So one last time, check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. So that's it for me and Happy Duck. We're going to get out of here.
Yep. We'll all see you next week.